Dubai is one of the 7 states that make up the United Arab Emirates. Under the rule of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, it's an oasis of stone, marble, concrete and glass set in the Arabian desert. 40 years ago, it was a fishing village. Now, a trade and manufacturing infrastructure has been created alongside a booming tourist industry, and it continues to expand. The history of Dubai resembles a rags-to-riches story. A small, sleepy settlement occupied by nomadic Bedouin was seen as an inhospitable place, with dry desert sand covering the land and water in short supply. Tourism seemed a distant dream.
Gulf and desert doesn't really go along, you know. But I think if we were to move forward, that moved from a game for our social interaction, people talk about golf and business, to helping the city to become on the world map, and not only as a golf destination, but as a great tourism destination.
His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, the idea behind building the first green golf course in Dubai is mainly to attract more people to come from different parts of the world to Dubai to play golf. So Sheikh Mohammed decided at that time, okay, this is where we want to build it.
It was hard to imagine a more unnatural activity than playing golf on green grass in an area which, left to itself, would be given over to sand dunes and scrub. But designer Carl Litton couldn't wait to get started.
It was just a magnificent sight. And I did not even have the topo, but I knew there was no problem designing a course of world-class caliber here. As long as you can read topographical surveys, you have no problem jockeying a routing plan in that works with the land without destroying what God put here.
I remember standing on what is now the 9th tee, the par 4, and they said, well, this will be an elevated tee. It's a flat piece of desert, and down there there'll be a pond, and that will separate the 9th and the 18th. And the 9th and 18th will share a green like a crescent right in front of the clubhouse, which will be Bedouin tents. And I looked at them and I thought, yeah.
To cause the desert to bloom required vast amounts of water. It couldn't be drawn from limited supplies available naturally, so miraculously 600,000 gallons of water a day from the Arabian Gulf were pumped through a desalination plant to maintain the existence of 30,000 trees and shrubs on the course. From the air, it was as if a large green silk handkerchief had been placed neatly in the middle of the desert, and the European tour was overwhelmed at the result.
The golf course was quite spectacular. It was a beautiful layout by Carl Litton. It was in terrific condition. You know, at that stage 20 years ago, we didn't play on golf courses of the quality that we play on now. So at that point in time, I realized straight away that the players would love this venue, and I knew it was going to be a success.
With no expense spared, the Emirates course was officially opened by the President of Pakistan in March 1988 with the help of a special gold club, and Sam Torrance was invited to play in the opening exhibition match.
When we first went there was nothing between the airport and the golf course. I mean, you could see the beautiful clubhouse from miles away. Now you can't see it until you're actually in there. Howard Clark and I played Roger Davis and Graham Marsh. It's kind of an east versus west exhibition match to open the course. I love Dubai. I've always loved the Emirates course. It's perfect condition. It's very high up there.
The Emirates clubhouse is unique, a modern representation of a Bedouin encampment in the desert with 7 interconnecting tents made of glass, concrete and steel. A $10 million facility made for a sheikh, and yet, for all its majestic and affluent appearance, guests were welcomed with warmth and generosity.
I suppose it's just the way we are. I mean, we welcome people. We are a very welcoming people. We're Bedouin, you know, so anybody come to our house are welcome.
The Dubai Desert Classic became a permanent date on the players' calendar, and the Majlis course, as it was called, won universal approval.
All the players get looked after very well. I mean, even in 1989, you know, the hospitality for the players was an unbelievable driving range and somewhere to go and eat. And in those days, you know, you'd take your own golf balls to the tournament, so the hospitality was fantastic. And you know, I'm lucky enough to have been exempt and be able to play the whole 20 events.
We were amazed at the clubhouse, the Bedouin tents, and amazed, and it didn't have to change. It was that good to start with. We are hosted royally. We are looked after royally. And everyone just feels very welcome there. It's a very safe place to be. We all feel very comfortable there. Therefore, I believe, gets one of the best fields of the year and has done for the last 20 years.
As professional golfers, we love a golf course that's in prime condition. And when I went to it for the first time, the greens were really fast and firm, and it was beautiful.
It's been a fabulous place to go to. I feel very fortunate to be involved with such a great quality team of players in such a wonderful place. It's a tournament that is highly regarded around the world as a class event.
It had a desire, I think, for perfection in many ways. They wanted to be the best of the best. They wanted to push the boundaries in many ways on and off the golf course.
It's always in good condition because we make sure it's in good condition. We have the best of staff working on it, and they do their best to make it look good for the players.
As a tribute to the designer, the inaugural event in 1989 was called the Carl Lytton Desert Classic. Mark James emerged triumphant after a playoff with Peter O'Malley.
To win that early in '89, it kick-started my season, and I had a really good year after that. But yeah, it was different, of course, than the course.
Ireland's Eamon Darcy, he of the unconventional swing, became the second name on the honours board when he won the Emirates Airlines Desert Classic in 1990, finishing with a birdie at the last for a handsome 4-shot victory. And after a postponement for the Gulf War, Ronan Rafferty came that close in '92 to taking the title, now renamed the Dubai Desert Classic. Instead, it went to Seve Ballesteros. He'd single-putted the last 6 holes in regulation to force a playoff with Rafferty, and a birdie at the 18th, the second extra hole, preserved his record of at least 1 win in each of his last 17 seasons.
Very exciting for the people to watch, but not so much for us. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure out there, and it was tough, very tough.
The charismatic Spaniard attracted huge crowds to the Emirates when he returned in '93 to defend the trophy. He was part of a glamorous field that included Nick Faldo, making his 3rd appearance in Dubai, and Ernie Els, who was tackling the Majlis course for the first time. Like Els, his fellow South African Retief Goosen had yet to register a maiden victory on the European Tour. But it was their compatriot Wayne Westner who stole the show. Leading by 1 from the early tournament leader Paul McGinley, Westner's big hitting and sublime putting led from the 10th in the 3rd round, and he was never overtaken.
I just remember loving the place, and all the times that I've won in my life, you get to a golf course and you just know that you're going to play well that week. Special place, very special place.
Sentiments with which Ernie Els is bound to concur. The Big Easy made it look easy when he returned to Dubai in '94 and opened his account with a blistering 61. Thereafter, the field that included Greg Norman was playing catch-up and not playing it very well. Els began the final round with an 8-shot lead over the Great White Shark, and after a closing 71, he cantered to a 6-shot win with a then record 20 under par. It was his maiden victory and one he cherishes.
I remember playing with Sandy Lyle the first 2 rounds, and obviously he was a major championship winner, and, when I shot the 61 with him, he's made a lot of putts and, had a great time out there. I really felt kind of more at ease with myself in the world stage, and it really set me up for a wonderful year.
Another dazzling cast gathered in the desert in '95, including Fred Couples, always a welcome visitor, Nick Price, the reigning Open champion, and Greg Norman, thriving in the conditions.
The greens were perfect speed. If they get to 10, they'll be very nice. If they stayed where they are, they'll be good too. So, whoever's looking after this golf course out here in the desert is just a phenomenal job.
Norman finished tied 6th, but Colin Montgomery and Couples provided the fireworks. A second round 63 helped Monty to share the lead with Couples after 3 rounds, and in scorching conditions, they were still deadlocked after 8 holes of the last day. However, Couples moved 2 ahead with a birdie 3 at the 9th, and in front of packed stands behind the 18th, the American set up another birdie to capture his first win in Europe by 3 shots. It was a damp Dubai in '96 when a slimmed-down Monty, needing a birdie to beat Jimenez to the title, produced the shot of the year, and commentator Ewan Murray saw it.
If there was ever a shot that won a tournament, it was the one Montgomery hit at the 18th. That shot will stay with me forever.
I was going to lay up, but Alistair and I decided, that my caddy, that if we hit a driver here, we can clear the water. All I was interested in was making contact, good contact, which I did. And it rose very high, and the higher it went, of course, the softer it was going to land, and it landed so soft on the green, it was amazing. It only rolled out about 10 feet. It was the best shot under pressure, one ahead, having to clear water with a driver. Isn't the shot you're asking for, believe me, and I was so happy to see the first 10 yards of the flight. I knew I'd won the tournament.
One stroke was the margin. The crown was one of the most coveted on tour.
It's a very big title. I'm glad I have it. There's such a strong field with the international contingent that now comes over. The Woods, the Els, the Goossens of this world. It's a very big title to have.
In 1997, Richard Green of Australia became the first left-handed golfer to win on the European Tour for 23 years. But first, he needed this for a playoff.
You know, I've gone back out there and looked at that putt and thought, how did I hole that putt, you know? It was, it misses a hole and it's in the water probably. I remember the crowd noise and the commentator's reaction on video later, and you know, it was pretty amazing.
But to cross the line first, he had to beat Ian Woosnam and Green's mentor Greg Norman. Well, hole this at the first extra hole and the trophy's yours, Richard.
And to be out there with Greg Norman, you know, world #1 at the time, for me was, you know, I felt pretty out of my depth. But, you know, I was the underdog, I guess, and I had nothing to lose, and I just went for it.
The desert winds whipped up a sandstorm a year later as Robert Carlson set off with a 2-shot lead on the final day. But after 3 successive rounds in the 60s, gremlins crept into the Swede's game as he limped to a 75. And it was Jose Maria Olazabal who eased his way to the front. The Spaniard, who'd made a comeback in Dubai a year ago after missing more than a season with a serious foot injury, clinched victory in style with an eagle at the 13th and birdies at the 17th and the 18th. And all that on a queasy stomach.
At the start of the tournament, I almost withdrew for the tournament because of my health condition, and if somebody had said to me that I was going to win this tournament this week, I would have said that he was quite crazy.
He's probably the most popular player that's played on the European Tour in 20 years. There was not many dry eyes in the house when he took the trophy that year.
For the next 2 years, the tournament moved house to the glamorous Dubai Creek Golf and Yacht Club, and it proved a smart move for Englishman David Howell. Still in his early 20s, Howell celebrated his maiden European Tour title by leaving a star-studded field trailing in his wake by 4 shots. 12 months on, in Millennium Year, the 36-year-old Argentine Jose Caceres allowed himself the luxury of a double bogey finish and still carried off the trophy to end a spell of 6 years out of the winner's circle. But nothing was to match the event's return to the Emirates the following year.
If there's one sort of defining moment for me, it probably wasn't the golf tournament itself, but I think it was the year that Tiger Woods played in the event and he hit balls off the top of the Burj Al Arab Hotel. And I think that was quite spectacular, and those shots went round the world.
It was 2001, and it was as if the Dubai Desert Classic had been given royal approval.
The ability really to see Tiger Woods first time in Dubai was really a very special moment in the history of the tournament. And I think he came in as well when you know, he was really on fire.
Everyone was looking forward to him coming to the desert. I think it increased the interest in golf in Dubai. And wherever Woods plays, Woods leaves his mark there.
I've always wanted to play. I've watched this tournament on TV lots of times, and have always enjoyed watching it on TV, and I just always wanted to play it. And it's just a matter of time before I got over and played, and I'm really excited to be here.
The week lived up to and exceeded every expectation. Woods played all 4 rounds with Thomas Bjorn, a winter resident in Dubai, who was inspired by the occasion.
I stepped back and just saw the world's greatest golfer in full flow, and it kind of gave me a kick to play the best I could do.
From the start, Woods and Bjorn were locked together, each shooting 64 on the opening day to lead the field. Woods repeated the feat on the second day to lead by 2 from Bjorn with a 36-hole tournament record total of 16 under par. And the American was still a stroke ahead after 54 holes. It had become a thoroughly absorbing jewel in the sun, and as excitement mounted among the 10,000 spectators, Bjorn, showing granite resolve, had drawn level as he stood on the 18th tee.
When I hit that drive on 18, I knew the game was on, because it never becomes an easy tee shot for somebody that's that long as he is. If he pulls off the tee shot, well, then all of a sudden 18 becomes a fairly easy hole, but he had to pull off the tee shot.
Woods could only find the trees, chipped out, and now faced a daunting approach over water to the par 5. Woods' expression said it all, and Bjorn duly claimed a remarkable 2-shot victory and the largest coffee pot in golf.
It is a big trophy. It's one of them that you don't really want to pick up, but yeah, it is a good list of winners, and that's down to what the tournament is, and always has been. You know, for the European players, this place is very close to our hearts.
8 years after winning his maiden title on the European Tour at the Emirates, Ernie Els in '02 became the first player to win it twice. The highlight, a stunning 4-iron from the trees at the 18th, then measuring around 550 yards, that led to an eagle 3. In just over 2 months, he'd won in Africa, Australia, America, and the Gulf. A year later, Els had to take second place to the unheralded Robert Jan Derksen after the Dutchman's final round 65 clinched the title. Tiger Woods' second appearance in Dubai coincided with his good friend Mark O'Meara's one-shot victory over Paul McGinley, a victory that hardly finished with a flourish.
And all I had to do was 2-putt and make par to win, and putted it by about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. And I remember Tiger sitting in the back of the green talking to my agent, Peter Malik, saying, "What is he doing? You know, what's he doing?" But I made the 2-footer for par and went on to win the tournament that week, and it was exciting for me, and I know Tiger was very happy for me.
There could hardly have been a more dramatic climax to the event in 2005, when Els, needing an eagle at the last to beat Jimenez for his 3rd desert success, duly delivered.
18 is such a great hole. It's given me a lot, but it's also taken away a lot from me in the past. But it worked for me. I hit a great drive down there, and I think I hit a 6-iron just left of the hole, and I still had to make about a 30, 40-foot putt. Made the putt, and Miguel missed his birdie putt, and I won by a shot. So it was kind of great for me, but I felt for Miguel.
A different story the following year, however, when Els and Woods met in a playoff. Woods, at the first extra hole, found the green with his approach. Els, trying to do the same from the undergrowth, only found water, and Woods was champion at the 3rd attempt. Woods and Els were leading challengers in '07, but Dubai resident Henrik Stenson's 7-foot birdie putt here at the last was good enough to give the Swede the title. The 18th on the measureless course, now some 560 yards long, was also the scene of this astonishing birdie attempt from Woods last year. That completed a back nine of 31, 6 under par, and else required an eagle at the same hole to force a playoff. A gust of wind had caught his three-wood approach, and a bogey 6 relegated Else to a share of third, and for the second time, Tiger was the toast of Dubai.
That was a fantastic win of Tiger Woods. I mean, the final shot was a fantastic one, and everybody keeps talking about it. We have been sponsors for the last 18 years, and I think we have never looked back. We're very proud and to be associated with this sporting tournament. I think the Desert Classic, as you can see, it brings in world-class players. I think the field always has been attracting top-notch players in the world, and this is what we want.
And by way of celebration, in 2009, golf in Dubai gathered together as many of their past champions as they could muster, set them on the palatial par 3 course at the Emirates, and allowed the fans to get a unique close-up of some of the greatest names in the game. The pairing of Robert Jan Derksen and Jose Caceres emerged triumphant, and their winning check went to a charity of their choice.
And Jose Caceres.
But the fun didn't end there. The event was followed by a glitzy champions dinner. 6 different major champions adorned the tournament honours board, and many of those attended the party. More mementos were presented. Jim Davidson and Ronnie Corbett, both passionate amateur golfers themselves, provided the entertainment. And a great night was had by all. The main focus, naturally, was on the golf course, and as always, the field included a rich sprinkling of top players whose year would not be complete without a visit to this irresistible attraction on the southern shore of the Arabian Gulf. 19-year-old Irishman Rory McIlroy's reputation had gone before him, with 3 top 5s to his name already this season. A handsome 6-shot lead with 6 to play on Sunday was dramatically reduced as Justin Rose eagled 13, and with another birdie here at 17 was only 1 behind. McIlroy at the last needed to get up and down from the back bunker to win or avoid a possible playoff. And he played what he described later as the shot of his life. It left Rose with this for a birdie and a possible playoff. It wasn't to be, and after coming close in 2 previous playoffs and having led from start to finish, the Irishman collected his maiden victory to become the 5th teenager to win on the European Tour.
It was a bit of a roller coaster to say the least, but you know, Justin battled well all the way down the back nine, and you know, I dug in there deep, and you know, I had one of probably the best up and down of my life on 18 to win, so I'm just thrilled.
So the 20th anniversary of the Dubai Desert Classic had ended in a win for a young man who wasn't even born when it all began.
Golf is history. We work very hard to make it good and make it a successful event and continue throughout the years. Yeah.
The Classic broke the mold 20 years ago when the impossible became a reality, and now it's a jewel in the crown of early season events on the European Tour and a torchbearer for golf in the Middle East.
I attribute it to the spirit of this city, because this is a very unique city. This city where it could be an example to the world of how people really come together. 205 nationalities, different colors, different faiths, different cultures, different languages. They come together, they unite, they build a wonderful city. And I think the spirit of all that, you know, that really all translated automatically to the tournament. And I'm glad I look back 20 years and, you know, and one smiles, which is really great.
A lot of people really question, well, really people will come here. So it was a challenge, you know, to build such a magnificent course, when everybody expected or nobody would come here. And I think we proved, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, his involvement, proved his strategy was good. I mean, to see more people coming and playing.